I'm not sure this is controversial, but I think these companies are doing this just because they can.
Okay.
So the job market at the moment is definitely challenging. We're getting through this AI transition where there is a lot of changes and a lot of stress, and people are definitely feeling a bit insecure about what's going on. So these companies are just leveraging the opportunity that at this point they can definitely take take this and use this to leverage that everyone comes to back to office. Whether this is effective or not, we'll definitely see in the nearest future. I mean, most of these companies are public, so they will either go up or down. But even in the space of major technology players, so I believe Apple is still sticking to 3 days in the office. Same
Yes.
does, I think Google. I'm not sure whether they're 3 or 4, but it's definitely not 5. So we'll see where this is all going on. Yes, I think it's just they're using the opportunity, and we'll definitely see how it goes.
We'll definitely see how it goes. We'll definitely see how it goes. And that's very interesting to me in my books. With the rise of hybrid models, how are European companies ensuring efficiency and collaboration, especially in a remote or a hybrid work environment? If we can talk a little bit specifically in terms of hybrid, 3 days from office, 2 days from work, from a project management point of view, how can AI, and do you use AI tools to help you see what your team is doing? You're a program manager, as I know from Lloyd Bank. How do you follow up on people's work in terms of hybrid? How do you see, do they finish their tasks? Is their task efficient or not? Do they communicate regularly during work time? Is there work time or not? I mean, if I'm working from home, I can work from 1 till 9, or I can work from 9 to 5. So how do we do it, and how can we do use AI to follow up on their work?
So the most important thing that I've been using since the COVID started is probably all sort of advanced collaboration tools, online collaboration tools. I'm a big admirer of Miro. I'm a big admirer of Mural or Whiteboard from Microsoft, whatever. So even in my organization at the moment, this is the public information. We opened a huge development center in India, and we have lots of engineers over there. So essentially, all our teams are hybrid at the moment. Some people are in office in the UK, some people in office in in India, and that's all is not possible without advanced collaboration tools. So if before, when I have an idea of the workshop or kind of a conversation or facilitation, I would go, maybe we'll draft an idea we'll try to search for on the internet for some template. Let's say I need a template to conduct a facilitation of project work breakdown or something like this. Now, this is essentially where AI comes in, because this is an extremely powerful tool that not only can draft you specific ideas, but also even with visualizations. All these tools you can do, you can do a simple whiteboard and just use the like Apple Pencil or something like this, but it gets much more interactive or much more pleasant to your eyes if you use nice graphics, if you use nice materials, etc., etc. And this is where all these tools come together and they come into play. It's not, it's kind of was expected that all companies will start to introduce. I believe Jira now has a partnership with ChatGPT. So if you're using Cloud Jira, you can just basically click create ticket and ask ChatGPT to do whatever you expect.
By
Same
the way,
goes.
by sorry to interrupt you, by you mentioning ChatGPT, the new competitor of DeepSeek, do you think it's really a competitor, and is it a competitor in Europe? Because it's done a huge, it had a huge impact on the economy of the United States of America. So do a lot of people use DeepSeek, or is there a competition here between DeepSeek in Europe and ChatGPT, or are Europeans sticking to ChatGPT?
There is definitely a huge interest in it, and I think it's an absolutely great thing that we have a great competitor, which is kind of coming not from the Western world, but also from the other parts of the world. Because, in a globalized society, everyone has new ideas, maybe brighter ideas, different resources. So it's a great thing that we have a competitor finally. In terms of usage, so I think that will be challenging again because of regulations. if OpenAI and ChatGPT are pretty open to kind of work with the European governments, at least try to understand what they require, definitely major players like Microsoft or Samsung are definitely looking into how to make it work for both parties. I am not really sure whether DeepSeek is interested in working with European governments, but
Okay.
we'll see. And it's definitely an interesting
But when you
challenge.
talk about regulations, when you're talking about regulation, does ChatGPT, does the European governments really enforce certain regulations of ChatGPT? But doesn't that limit a little bit the usage of AI and its capabilities? I mean, if you put a lot of regulations, what is the purpose of regulations? What are they afraid of?
And that's where we getting into kind of this ocean of why Europe is not growing and why we haven't seen really much economic growth, because work-life balance is great. You can work 7 hours a day and drink a cup of coffee on the summer terrace, but yeah, we probably focused on a different thing, which is not a bad sign. But we just need to see how the other world evolves, and hopefully some of the recent changes will force the Europe to step up. I believe France is doing great thing with Mistral, with their AI and the big investment in terms of energy consumption and energy infrastructure for them inside France. So we'll definitely get there. So yeah, that's an interesting world to be, right? And
Yes,
I'm
it is a very
absolutely
interesting.
excited that there is a competitor, because there is a problem, and maybe it's even great that we've seen this competitor when we are kind of, it's maybe as good as, or maybe a little bit better than the OpenAI product. But yeah, it's much better to know that there is a competitor now, especially for OpenAI, than if they stayed in shadow for 6 more months and then they suddenly appear
Appear.
with absolute breakthrough. That would be really challenging.
All right. Moving on into something also very interesting. Speaking of AI, do you think automation will eventually replace project managers, or is it more of an enabler? You said before in the beginning of this wonderful discussion, is that you really believe that no way AI will replace humans or will fully replace humans. But the way I see it, since I've seen a video of China where a chef is actually a robot, how crazy is that?
Mm-hmm.
Do you truly believe that project managers can be replaced or not? And do you believe if we can focus on the subject of what kind of jobs will be replaced in Europe? Since there are a lot of regulations, I truly believe it might be limited according to what you say. But what do you think about that? What are your insights?
So it's definitely hard to predict, and I'm not a big fan of predictions here. Before October 2022, only those people who were really deep into the subject, they knew that this is coming, and they knew that this is going to happen, because I believe OpenAI gave access to some researchers before they officially went public with their model. But if you open that model now, you'll be amazed how much progress there have been. So 3 years have passed, and if you compare the
Yes.
current model with the first model, you'll be, oh, this is slow. It doesn't have context. It doesn't understand context between chats. It doesn't know history. It can't go. You remember, it was not able to go online. It was acting based on data snapshot of 2021, but now it's all instant. You ask to research. What they do with deep research is absolutely amazing. So I think it's quite, I wouldn't say arrogant, but I just say we've seen so much progress for the past 3 months, and we just don't know where it is going. I don't believe, if we speak about personal feeling, I don't believe we will be able to replace the human interaction, definitely. And for me, program management and project management is more about human interactions. Yes, there are tools, but tools are quite easy to learn. The hardest bit to learn is actually the emotional intelligence, the ability to understand what's going on, ability to control your emotions. These are the most important things for me. So as soon as
Yes.
AI is not conscious, we're safe. But as soon as it
Okay.
gets some consciousness, well, then we are probably in trouble.
On a side talk, do you believe that on AI being emotional. Do you believe that maybe one day, because you're talking about sometimes there are a lot of people asking so many questions to AI nowadays, even about religion and even about politics and everything, and even about human interaction. Some people say, "Hey, I have depression. What do I do?" There's the idea of medical AI now, where if I have a flu or something, there'll be symptoms. I go to ChatGPT, I write the symptoms, and it tells me what to do. Do you believe that it will be conscious one day? Do you believe that AI can have emotions one day?
So I've been doing, my girlfriend was looking into learning a language, and she was looking into kind of an online, basically something she can contribute probably 15 to 20 minutes a day just to pick up some basic words and basic phrases. So even in ChatGPT, you can use the voice chat with ChatGPT. And first of all, I was absolutely amazed. You can pick up, I don't know, probably a couple dozen of accents, and they think definitely it responds in an accent, in a language, it corrects you, it definitely lets you, it kind of feels that, you stopped or you said something like, oh, it doesn't work, or I don't understand. And it goes back to you and say, no worries, I got you, let's try again. So we're getting there. But again,
Okay.
this is all about predictions, and this is all about essentially the huge database. If you think in academia, right, we're here in kind of an academic perspective as well. Most of the research and most of the data we know about us is actually built not on that big data set. I think typical research for university would be, I don't know, maybe 1,000 people, maybe a couple thousand people. That thing has much more, and for fraction of cost and for fraction of time. Of course, it acts with the data that was pre-processed already, but again, it's hard to make predictions. It's definitely doing a lot of progress, and we just need to be mindful that it evolves, and we should evolve as well.
Okay. All right. Perfect.
What is your view? What is your view, Tariq, on
In
the
terms of
consciousness
emotional,
of
uh,
AI?
well, to be quite frank, I don't think that robots will ever be emotional. It might, through the data, as you said, any research inquires like 1,000, 2,000, maybe 5,000 people to do the research. I really do not believe that AI will have full awareness and full consciousness to the level that us human beings will be ever. And it's because the way I see it, it generates data from online, from thousands and millions of data and information online. So it only picks up lines that we already have designed. So I don't think that a robot will be fully conscious, though I truly believe at some point there will be a high level of recorded answers to most of the things that we do in terms of conversation. So they take the recorded answer, they reply back, or they generate through the information they reply back to us, but I don't think that they will be fully conscious. That's my view in terms of consciousness and emotional awareness and emotional intelligence in terms of AI. All right.
It's also an interesting one, because if you look into kind of sci-fi literature from the previous century, most of them were speaking about some kind of humanoids or robots that are walking around and speaking, but we ended up with a chatbot. Like, no
Yes.
one ever thought about it back then. So it's all about predictions. Yes, we are probably getting there with robots, but 50 years ago, no one would think that there will be a chat that you can message. So let's stay
Yes,
tuned on this
let's stay
topic.
tuned and see. In terms of engineering and project management, I do say one thing is that robots and robotic process plants have replaced lots of humans in terms of factories. If we're talking about FMCGs, and if we're talking about Nestle, and if we're talking about Coca-Cola and all that, so there have been a lot of replacement in terms of human beings. When you say project managers will not be replaced, I truly believe that. But in terms of engineers and in terms of technical part and technical work, from an engineering point of view, I know your background is engineering. Do you truly believe that AI might have a say in this? Even more jobs will be cut and shortened by AI. Do you think this might happen in the future?
I think we'll get data probably this year. I think we're definitely going into a not maybe not a problem, but a kind of a again this change in the market because I was quite lucky. I did university in computer science at the time when computer science was booming. Market was extremely growing. Everything was getting there. At the moment, I can't really imagine if you graduate from university how you even land in a job. Unfortunately, because the
Wow.
advancement
Really?
of all this stuff. I mean, at least in software engineering,
Okay.
because again, probably we've done lots of advancement in terms of again AI and materials, and the progress we've done in the past 3 years is just absolutely insane. And most of universities, in terms of especially hard skills, they're still probably trailing. And you know, if your professor and your university haven't done any adjustments to the program, you'll end up having a conversation after uni that you can do some basic, I don't know, web page or chatbot. But now but everything else, um, this is pretty much irrelevant anymore because again, the stuff that Copilot can do, the stuff that ChatGPT can do, it's basically, I don't know, probably first 2 years of my computer science degree, my skills after these 2 years could completely be, yeah, I could be really, my first company could use Copilot instead of me. I would say like this.
Wow.
So
Do
this is,
you, do you think Python it would reach the level that we even Python programming and all that? Since you studied computer science, I'm sure you studied the introductions to Python and all that. Do you think it programs its own self? Yeah, we reach a point where AI will program itself, and we will no longer have control over it. You know, like the movies have a concern about how technology will one day take over humanity. Do you believe that it will generate, we talked about the emotional aspect, do you think that it will generate its own Python programming to the level that it will take over and tell us to what to do completely? Do you think it might reach that level?
um, let's see, it's hard really to make predictions. So my point here really, I think this is nothing new really. It's like we've been there before. So in the country where I'm from, in let's say 90s, it was extremely popular to become a lawyer. Then it was extremely popular to become an economist. Then at some point it was extremely popular to become a wedding photographer for some stupid reason, but it was like the best deal you can get. And
Yeah.
then it was in IT. So I think we'll just evolve into something else, and there will be new challenges. And the biggest challenge, I think, is how we adapt. And I think that the most important challenge is how we adapt for new generations, how we make sure that these people are able to success. Because again, uh, I haven't been to my university, and I hope that they've done some changes. But if they haven't done some changes, because I definitely seen some exams when I was in 2015, let's say, I definitely seen some exams that were there since 90s. If they haven't
Yeah.
changed, that they're definitely screwed.
Okay.
Yeah, but this is not a negative thing again. It's just a way of life, right?
Yes,
We
we
didn't have
evolve.
an iPhone in 2006. Today, Apple presented iPhone 16e. I don't even know what E stands for, but it's absolutely insane. It's what I think $599,
Yes,
and
yes, yes.
it has everything you need in it. We're just evolving.
Wow.
So
Well,
let's stay more positive. Let's stay more curious, and the most of education is about not not staying on the same place and getting new information and trying to evolve and trying to learn more. So uh yeah, I would say if you're trying to get some new skills, you are safe.
all right. Hopefully we'll be safe and we'll evolve into something beautiful. And that makes sense to me, you know. Another growing concern is you talked about sustainability and green project management. And you said, we here in the MENA region, we're very much interested in the going green and sustainability. with all the regulations that you mentioned, and you said some companies are changing their buildings and all that. How much, in terms of percentage, if you can put it in a percentage, how much does Europe is interested in sustainability and going green? I understand there's a gas problem in regards to the Russian-Ukrainian war, and there have been lots of challenges. If we're talking about sustainability and going green, what do you think? What is your intake on that in terms of Europe? You don't have to necessarily speak only about England and Wales, but in terms of Europe.
So I definitely believe that Europe is probably the leader in that, at least in terms of all the kind of thinking about it. So China did an amazing progress. I'm not sure whether I'm making this data or not, but I think they sell more electric cars than they sell
Yes,
gas-powered cars
yes.
already. So they definitely have more resources, they have more money, and they have kind of the central push to do this thing. So it's definitely getting there. But here in Europe, I think it's all about, again, it's all about conscious of the people, and the biggest drivers here are really people. The biggest drivers here are, we breathe the bad air, let's do something about it, or we don't recycle enough, etc., etc. So again, I think we're getting in the age where it's really important. So for example, my real use case, I just take a, if I don't know whether I can recycle some packaging at home or not, I really take a picture, I send it to ChatGPT and I ask, can I recycle, is this recyclable in England? And you can be really surprised that most of the stuff is actually not recycled. So I think there is a really big space here for us to get even better at it. Like my most favorite example is, so the bag of crisps. For someone who's never been to UK, they can't really understand how big crisps are in the British culture. So everyone eats crisps. It's a bar snack. It's a snack in the school. So it's a normalized thing. So in the back of crisps, there is a little green signature that recycle in supermarkets with bags. So
Okay.
if you throw the bag of crisps in a recycling bag, like a mixed recycling, it will never get recycled. It will probably be burned on some concrete factory or whatever, but it's not recycled. So it's really important because our understanding is super poor at this. The second good example is a coffee cup, like a plastic coffee cup. So it's
Okay.
usually done, the cup itself is done of paper, which is coated in some sort of thing that it's not leaking, but the cup is plastic 100%. So you actually, sorry, lid is plastic 100%. So actually, you can't recycle the cup, but you can recycle the lid. So
Wow.
if you go next time, I don't know, in supermarkets or everywhere, especially if you live in Europe, just take a look how people dispose their cups. They usually throw them together in a recycling bin, which will not be recycled. Essentially, the whole bag will not be recycled. Okay, maybe not as pessimistic, but yeah, it just adds more complexity.
Okay.
So again, I think our kind of a golden thread of our conversation today, it's more about opportunity. Let's just find a way how to use it more efficiently. But also on a kind of backside of it, again, all this AI thing is using lots of energy. Microsoft invested $1 billion or even more to revive an atomic power plant in the US. France is investing because they have surplus of atomic energy. So you need a lot of energy and you need a lot of green energy. And
Yes.
probably as a Europe, we need to step up and revive all the nuclear plants we've closed, especially in Germany, just to make sure that we have this green energy back. Because, oh, I don't know, I'm going into some buzzkill stuff today. But again, when people created and understood that we can insulate our homes properly, that we can
Yes. Yes.
put, a coating on the walls and better windows, everyone thought, amazing, our homes will be such insulated. But now you
Mm.
go to any modern home and you'll have a panoramic windows of 3 meters, because we can now afford having a panoramic windows of 3 meters because they're good insulated. But if we
Yes.
stayed with the same windows that they had 300 years ago, you can probably, just get rid of your boiler at home. But no one is doing it because with
Yes.
the progress, we upscale our, yeah, we upscale our demands, we upscale our expectations, and we are trying to get, more comfortable. So let's use this as an opportunity.
It's great to see how sustainability is becoming a priority. In terms of changing business landscape, what skills do you think project managers need to stay ahead in Europe's competitive market? I do understand that Europe is one of the highest and the elite of education. It always competes with the United States of America, which is better? The European system, should I study my son or my brother or myself? Should I study in Europe or should I study in the United States of America? So what are the skills needed in project management? Like, for example, study in the same project management PMI or Prince2, or what skills are needed in terms of going with AI and all that?
I would definitely go with more of a soft skill side rather than a tool set, because tools.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I think so. Because again, the tools is something that even in the AI world, if I don't know, 5 years ago, Scrum Mastering or being a Scrum Master was a thing, and in most of organizations was really just a monkey who was able. Sorry, it's not offensive. I was the monkey myself, so I can say this stuff.
Okay.
And it was someone who was really able to be proficient in the tools, be proficient in the Jira, be proficient in dashboard, be proficient in whatever you do. But at this point, you can go into AI, ask whatever I need to do, how do I pull this data, and you can get the answer. So from my perspective, the most important would be those leadership skills, though that emotional intelligence, and all this sort of stuff that you just need to, first of all, have experience. And definitely, it's hard to get this experience. You need to practice. You need to speak to people. You need to speak to different people. You need to work in different companies. But also, kind of an idea that all this theory and all these books were created. Let's take it different way. So most of the theories that we are using, and we've talked with you this today, maybe except artificial intelligence, were created 70 years ago, 50 years ago. So they are very well refined. We really know that it works. But you can't learn emotional intelligence. You can't learn
Yes.
feedback by asking ChatGPT, because this is all about interacting with people. When you're having a conversation face to face like we have today, you don't have this sideline to go and ask ChatGPT, oh, how do I respond to this one? Or how do I support these people? So for me, and in my personal development for many, many years, since I had a really great manager at one of the companies I work for, and she was really keen on us getting more specific into soft skill area. So I would say go to with the soft skills. It will probably not land you a job, because it's still, especially entry level jobs, will be more about doing something basic and having an actual impact. But definitely, as you go further, you are not able to get further just having the tool set, just for a reason, because you are a project manager, so you're working with people, and tool set is not going to make them effective. You are going to make them effective. So no matter whether it's Prince2, which is actually really funny, because Prince2, it's kind of a UK thing. No one knows about
Yes.
Prince2 outside of the UK, and people really created a whole business on Prince2, which is, understandable. We would, as a human beings, we're trying to get money wherever possible, but Prince2 in UK, so you've learned Prince2 all your life, and you go to US and you say you're certified in Prince2, and then what?
Okay.
So
If you can share an insight on the difference between Prince2, since you're a program manager, and the studies in America, is there a real lot of differences between the methodologies of Prince2 and the methodologies of US, or is it a copycat from your perspective?
no, so I think it was different when it was just created, and they kind of went in a different ways. But then Agile went more popular. So now, if you go for PMP certification or you go for Prince2 certification, they will be really, really close. It will be going down to details, maybe to some, how companies just um, used to work in specific region, or how companies operate, and what is more important in this specific region. So I would not think that I would not say that it's really a big difference. So even if you go to PMP certification, I think the massive chapter is on Agile. The massive chapter is on AI. Uh, we'll get there eventually. So uh, yeah, but culture is really different, and the MENA region is something absolutely outstanding in this case, because essentially, yes, obviously there was some industries inside, but most of the tech and you name it. So the region was lucky enough to attract the best talents from all over the world. So it's an enormous mix. If some industries existed in UK for hundreds of years, we still have the legacy of this experience, or in US or in Europe. In the MENA region, it's basically they've taken the best out of everywhere because they were able to attract the best people, and they probably don't really care about certifications as much as we care here. Yes,
Yes.
you definitely need something, and for me, certifications are always a straightforward path because you just sit and you know that if you do the course and certifications or you read the book, you'll just cover everything you need to be successful in a specific field. And then when it comes to actually implementing it, because you've done the certification, you know all the basics and you can dive deeper. So it's a good thing, but I believe you're not going to land the job anymore if you just have a PMP, because they have, I don't know, do they have a million? Like they have a lot of certified
Yes,
people.
yes, 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 definitely. I would like to tell you that if we're talking about PMP, it may be a little bit different from Europe. Here in MENA region, it is really famous to be certified as a project manager, as you are from PMI, or from. It is really famous to be certified from as a certified project manager from PMI, from Project Management Institute in Saudi Arabia and UAE. Even though Prince 2, I was aware. I studied project management, but it's with PMI methodologies. I did realize I was aware of the Prince 2 from Saudi Arabia. So actually, it is very famous, and a lot of people are certified. Most engineers and even governmental regulations in the MENA region, they say you have to be certified as a project manager to be able to obtain a high level or a high position there. So we're very aware of that.
That's
You.
absolutely
Mhm.
that's absolutely right. But the point is, everyone just have the certification, right? So it's not going to
Yes.
get you a job. It is a
Yes.
requirement now to get you a job because this is not something. Moreover, lots of shady business is there, unfortunately. So I'm personally a PMP certified person, and I have zero intent in renewing it because I think I have a better credentials as well. But my LinkedIn, I'm probably getting a couple of messages every week from companies that offer you credits, that you can buy credits for them to renew their PMP.
Ah, okay. Okay.
So you need to be really, I don't know. If I ever hire a person, if I ever have an opportunity to hire someone, I would probably not even think about asking them for PMP. I will be looking into that soft
Mhm.
skill stuff. You definitely will not be able to get an understanding after a 1 hour conversation, but that's why, and again, look at Google, look at Apple, look at Amazon. They have 8 to 10 stages of interview, and half of these stages will be just a talk, like a
Mm,
behavioral conversation with someone from the team, just to try to understand what kind of human being you are.
mm,
Yes,
mm.
there will definitely be hard skills, but I bet they don't care about PMP. So yeah, it's a good one. I highly recommend to get it. It's a great learning. It's a great path. It's a very straightforward path because everything is explained. There are plenty of courses. There are great courses. It covers all the required information. It's almost like a university. But,
Oh,
you know, in these worlds, it's like having an internet in 1997 was really important for you to be able to do something. Having an
yes.
internet now is a necessity because without internet,
Yes.
we're just cut off the global world.
Okay, may I ask you a question since you personally don't prefer or don't look into okay, are you certified you're going to work with if I'm going to work at your team, you're not going to ask me do I have a project management or not. Does the MBA and DBA in terms of Masters of Business Administration, Doctoral Business Administration as we provide in IBA London, is it important in Europe? Do people ask, or do people like here in the MENA region? Sometimes it is mandatory to hold an MBA or a DBA to be able to obtain a job. Do you have that in Europe currently? Is it as important as it is, or is it fading away, or what? What's your insight about that?
So definitely any degree, any university degree will be more important than PMP. And it's more about time commitment, and it's more about being resilient enough to go through it. Because if you think about university degree, it's 4 years in your late teens, early 20s, when you need to do consistency for 4 years doing some stuff that, if you're lucky, you may be interested, but most likely most of the stuff you just don't like, let's be honest. So it's about being resilient, and it's about doing the task that you believe will help you, you believe will get you necessary knowledge, and you believe will help you advance in this world. So for me, having any degree is really important, especially um, if it's a relevant degree to the field, if it's a relevant degree to the role, it at least gives me an understanding that, aha, this person has a computer science degree. Then I know that I can pretty much rely to them on algorithms, on some basic math, etc., etc. Same goes with MBA. So when I was studying, one of my professor said really an interesting thing, and I was really amazed by this one, and I still recall it from time to time. So he said that when you're going to be senior enough and you're going to sit in the board of your organization, so there will be a CFO, there will be a CTO, there will be a chief, I don't know,
Yes.
name it officer. But if none of them have an MBA and you're the only one who has there, then you're probably the only person who understands what everyone on the table is saying.
Yes,
Because
yes.
having an MBA is a unique opportunity to have this kind of an overview of whatever you're doing. And again, the big part of it is actually reading, is actually understanding and going into research. If you're doing an MBA, like, you will have your lectures, you'll have some webinars, you'll have face-to-face lectures, etc., etc. But then you have a reading, you have an essay, and you just go and you try to understand what you're trying to be there. So I think it takes probably 20 to 30 hours to write an essay, of which, I don't know, half of it is actually writing, but half of it is reading. And you can get some absolutely amazing pieces of information out of there. You can get case studies, and having, especially if you're curious, and you do this study, you'll probably get all the accesses from your university, you'll have access to library, and if you're really passionate about topic, oh, you can get a lot. So I'm particularly interested in, and again, I mentioned that soft skills, I believe, is the most tangible skill you
Yes.
can get in the modern world. So I'm particularly interested about leadership and motivation. And when I was when I was going through that module, I've spent a lot just reading whatever they've provided with us. Like, there was a couple of books and couple of researches, etc. It gets you a great perspective. So yeah, summing up, definitely MBA is more important than PMP,
Project management.
and a
Yes.
degree is more important. It's just, again, PMP. Think about PMP as a course at university. You've done probably 30 different, okay, 30 may be too much. Let's say 20 different subjects in university, and just think that one of them might be PMP. So when I was doing university, one of my classes was networking, and as a part of networking, because we had a collaboration, my university had a collaboration with Cisco. As an exam, we were doing certification by Cisco, an amazing one. I think
Okay.
if any university partners with PMI, and when they do introduction to project management, allows people to do PMP, that would be absolutely amazing. The cost should be, if we're speaking about some thousands of tuition fees for universities, cost of $200 for certification should not be a big deal for them. They can definitely get some bulk thing.
Yes.
So yes,
Definitely,
again,
fantastic insights. I have one last very quickie question for you. Do you see expansions in the UK projects to happen soon? That's the last question I have for you. Do you see any expansions in Europe in terms of projects and in terms of economical status with the AI coming in? Do you think is Europe still prosperous as it used to be or not? This is the last question.
that's the biggest challenge, and I'm probably, a small pawn on this chessboard, and I can't really answer it. But I believe that Europe is probably stepping up, and I think we'll see some absolutely exceptional opportunities going on there, because Europe finally understood that, they have to do something, otherwise they will just be left behind. So I'm a big believer that the election that are happening this year all over the Europe and in the coming years will frame what's going on the continent, and hopefully that we will be having a great conversation across all the countries, how to make this happen, and how to actually evolve and how to get the best results out of it. So yes,
All right.
I believe that we will expand. There are many conversations, even in the UK. There are some great projects, some controversial projects, but the most important is that we are actually talking about projects. And even, again, coming back to MENA region, the NEOM thing, absolutely exceptional. Yes, it might not be happening as it was envisioned before, like at the very beginning. Maybe it's not 100 kilometers, but even if it's a 20 kilometers and it's a sustainable and basically place in the desert where people can get together and work and create something fantastic, this is amazing. So there are many lessons we should get from different regions in the world. But I think Europe is a nice place. At least, you know, we are really lucky. We have a nice weather, we have seasons, we have good food, etc., etc. So why shouldn't we have great projects and great technology?
Perfect. Fantastic insights. Thank you for sharing your expertise with us today. And that wraps up today's episode about the latest trends in project management in Europe. If you enjoyed this discussion, please be sure to subscribe and stay tuned for more insights coming soon. Until next time, and sure, we'll have you again, Victor, on a different topic. Thank you very much. I enjoyed talking to you. I enjoyed this discussion, and see you soon, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tariq. That was a pleasure.
Thank you very much.